Hey guys, chances are you just got your Switch 2 and you're super excited, you want to play with it, and there's a lot to enjoy. There's also things to address as soon as possible if you want to keep your device for as long as you can, but also to improve your experience as a whole. And in today's video, we're going to look at the brand new accessory line from JSAUX for the Switch 2. There's a lot to love in there. They sent me a super nice package, and we'll go over it and see if there's something that you might like. So let's not waste a second more. So I want to thank JSAUX for sending me a pretty big box. Unfortunately, it's been banged up by the delivery team, but that was a super nice attention, and so I do want to commend them. And by the way, that has no impact on my opinions, no money changed hands. As I got my Switch 2, the first thing I installed is this little guy right here, the screen protector. So let's have a talk about it. In the screen protector box, you have two units, so if you mess up the first one, you're good. You also have one of those liners so you can't really miss it. You have the usual adhesive to get out the dust, a wet pad, most of the things that you expect to have in a screen protector kit, you have in here. The installation is as simple as it gets, and it's pretty much a tight fit. You're maybe like half a millimeter off just to give you a little bit of work, but with the tool, technically you should be exactly where you need to go. And that's essentially how my installation went. And one thing that caught me off guard is you'll notice that you see a reflection on the Switch 2, right? But the screen protector, at least the one that was sent to me, is not a completely clear one. It's one of those that diffuses light so that if you have light above you, you won't see a reflection, and it actually looks quite nice. Usually I prefer something that does not do that, so it's something to keep in mind. Now the benefit to that is it's almost impossible to get fingerprints on those, and usually those protectors are made with film. It's the first time personally I see one made with glass, so it's actually a pretty good quality, definitely a cut above from the other options I've seen that has that diffusion. As you can see here, bubble free, looks good. All right, let's move to the next accessory. The next one is one I know I'm personally not going to use because for me the Switch 2 is an all digital experience, but if you like to have your game cards and drag them along with you, that's a nice case to do it. We have a little bit of branding right here for the games case, a little bit of a rubber kind of feel, very nice. I wouldn't expect that to scratch or damage anything being held in it. And on the other side as well. I wouldn't have minded maybe like one less to have like say 4 micro SD express card. Man, this is hefty. This is perfect in a backpack. And it is now time to enter a bit of serious and a bit of fun. If you use the Joy-Cons, they're quite slippery, and as much as I appreciate the larger cap on the sticks, I do find that the range is not as ideal. It feels like Joy-Con Gen 1 range. So stick caps, by lifting, it gives you the impression of having a higher range, which is going to be one of those perks that is not necessarily what this is for. It's also to protect the sticks. And we have 3 different pairs. So these are similar to what you have on the Switch 2 Joy-Cons, but with a little bit more texture, which I appreciate because these are really soft. Wasn't too hard to install, and that one doesn't really give you the height I was talking about. Rather, it just gives you a much better grip, especially when thinking of the center. You do lose the little bit of arrows that you have here, but quite frankly, I don't mind. The fact that it's so slippery, I find is hard to hit like exactly up or exactly left and right. With this, it's going to be definitely easier. You have a bit more grip. So also if you have sweaty hands, it's going to hold a lot nicer. Now with this one, you're already starting to get that height, but it's also very soft, very slippery, so to speak. So if you don't like the original Joy-Con feel, this is going to be a similar feel. The one big difference is that you have the radius at the edges that is ridged. So if you work your sticks from the outskirts a lot, that might help you. And it also gives you a little bit more height, not a whole lot, but it does increase the feel of the range that you have as a whole. Personally, that's probably my 3rd position. And then the one that I consider to be first and what is going to go steady on my Switch 2 Joy-Cons is this right here. Let me install it. They're a little harder to install, but they're worth it. It does give you such a feeling of an increased range, gives you a lot of height as well, which is kind of counter to what I say in my videos, as in I don't usually use control freaks and things like that. But Joy-Cons being so small, I actually don't mind it at all, and I've been playing a little bit with this. This is by far the one I prefer and what is going to be steady on both of my Joy-Cons. It doesn't hinder the movement at all, it just feels better and gives you just that little extra height to have more control. And with that now being installed, time to play a game. And while I'm prepping things up, how about we play a racing game using JSAUX's steering wheel. This is a 2-pack by the way, so you got one for both of your Joy-Cons. Let's try it out. So we're talking a rigid plastic, and
You just insert it like that. And the way that the Switch Joy-Cons are designed, they're both interchangeable. So you don't need one that is specific to left side and one that is specific with right side. They'll both work for both Joy-Cons, so it doesn't really matter which is which. You have nice little buttons up top to press your SL and SR. So let's test this out and see how it feels. Please excuse me as I improvise a table. In the box with some nice little stickers. Thank you, JSAUX. They look good. Unfortunately, again, they've been banged up. Ugh, but they look nice. Okay, this is probably the one that I'm most excited about. This is a full case set and it has detachable for the Joy-Cons. So we're gonna test this one out and see what it looks like. Okay, so already we can see that the Joy-Cons are separated. This is the left side. Let me go ahead and install that right away. There we go. The top part off. Let's put this on. And voila. And the nice part is, despite having this whole protection, you can still install it on the Switch without issue whatsoever. All right, let's install the rest of it. That feels so much better because you see the Joy-Cons do not have grip, but here you do have a little bit of an ergo grip at the bottom back of the Joy-Cons, and already feels a lot better to hold this with. So let me put that aside and do the Switch 2 itself. The bottom part is quite, and this is hard. The bottom part is quite thin, so I want to be careful when installing this. I'm probably going to start with the upper portion, then just slide the bottom in because there's not a whole lot of plastic there. Yep, that was perfect. That's probably the way to go. Shielding in the back. We can still prop up the kickstand. This has no impact on its operation. And let's see if we can still dock it. And yes, we can still dock the Switch 2 just fine despite having the case. It's actually quite nice. And honestly, I thought when I initially installed it the first time that the Switch moved a little too much in the dock. This is now a very tight fit. Like, don't get me wrong, if you take your Switch 2 on and off like 10 times a day, you might find a little frustrating the portion when inserting it. Like you heard that little sound here, that was the plastic touching the dock itself, nothing to do with the Switch, so it's all good. But you know, like there's a little bit of resistance. However, if you stay your Switch 2 dock for most time, I actually like it better with that. And if we put the Joy-Cons, that's what it looks like right here. Perfectly docked, no issues whatsoever. And the price point of this case is super affordable. That's another touch, nice touch by JSAUX. Now here is a storage case, which is also shock absorbent. Probably not gonna throw it on the floor, but I would assume that it's gonna help if it was to take a nosedive. So what we have here is another case in itself that you can sit the Switch on. You have the flap here. As you open it, you have some nice storage space. Now, one thing I do wonder is if we can store using the case that I installed. And no, we cannot. So this is designed to really only use just the Switch and Joy-Con. So let me remove the one I installed on this, which by the way, the previous case, very easy to remove. Okay, so we just sit it in like that. There you go. And I guess we could play like this, but this is really more for storage. This is just like if you want to leave it in a drawer, you don't want it to gather dust, you just put it in there, and there you have it. It's well protected. You have a solid plastic here and a shock absorbent if it were to drop. So that's the case here. Oh, and you have a little slot here to charge up top, because by the way, both USB-Cs can be used to charge the Switch 2. So you could do that as well. That's actually going to be useful for the second Switch 2 that I bought, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. The one that I'm going to update once and leave in a drawer. This is what it's going to sit on. Oh, and before I forget, it also came with a lanyard that you can install. And that's actually a pretty nice one, a little bit of elasticity. And now we're looking at another case, but this time something more protective, what they call the Ergonomic battle armor. Let's see what this is all about. Okay, so this is a nice TPU, I believe, flexible PTU, but very good quality. I actually think I'm gonna like the grip better on these one, but it doesn't detach. So that's probably an ideal case for someone that plays the Switch 2 mostly only handheld, which is what I thought I was gonna do, but I'll be honest, I'm actually enjoying the Switch 2 in docked mode more than I am in handheld. But that might change my tune, so let's install it. Very easy, very simple to install. Gives you a nice grip as well. Yeah, this is, I mean, I want something where I can detach the Joy-Cons. This doesn't do it. But as far as the feeling goes, yeah, that's really, really nice. That gives you a much more pro-like feel to the Switch 2, especially if you play competitive, like the grip is way, way, way better. Sorry for the focus, guys, but yes, there you have it. And leaves your ports open. And can we dock this one? I'm not sure. Yeah, no, you're not docking this one for sure. I'm not gonna force it. And just so we're clear, there's no way it fits the storage case. So this is really the handheld companion. This is for the guy that's gonna, again, use the Switch 2 only handheld. You're gonna like this case. To remove it, I'm just pushing up top. And voila. That was super easy, actually. And now we got the carry case. And here, this is an ultra thin, so I would assume that this is not gonna fit with any of the protectors. Let's slot it in and see if this is the case. Neon blue and neon red. Very velvety inside. Feels quite nice. Go ahead and slot this in. And indeed, this is quite... You do have a little bit of play. I think that might fit with the transparent case, actually. I don't think it would fit with the big one, the bulky one, but let's try it. Well, you know what? I was wrong. That fits with your nice bulky case, so if you wanted to pair these two accessories, that's gonna work just fine. You have a little grip right here, and you also have a little Velcro strap. And I guess you do have game card slots in the back. You could have it like this if you wanted. So if this case fits, for sure the other one fits as well. So this is nice. This is, even though it's ultra thin, this will work with the other accessories from JSAUX to put over your Switch 2. But if you're looking for the fully decked out case, I think this is the one. I think this is the one. The box is bulkier, heavier. So I think this is gonna be, you know, your case where you put everything, maybe even the charger. I don't know if we're gonna go this far, but it seems to fit a whole lot. A nice rubber-like feeling, flexible a little bit. Still got the grip. We got dual zipper action, a shoulder strap. So nice. This is something that you could use as a carry bag, essentially. We have another lanyard right here. And, oh, okay, so it's even designed to prop up. If you go with this case, one thing you do lose here is you don't have access to the kickstand. So you could set this up like this, and suddenly you have a kickstand with this case. Okay. And then of course you can put, oh yeah, that fits more than enough. There's room to spare in here. You can fold it like this if you want to protect your screen. I would assume that you can fold it back. Yeah, I guess you could do that if you wanted as well. Yeah, it closes. So I don't think you're gonna fit a charger in there. Like an extra wire and your Switch 2 for sure, and games of course, because you do have little slots for the games here as well. This is the last of the accessories from the JSAUX that they sent me. So let's conclude this video. So that was all the products that I received from JSAUX. Again, thank you to them for sending this for me to showcase for you guys. We didn't set up anything affiliate, so the JSAUX link of all the products I covered will be in the description. If there's Amazon availabilities, these are going to be affiliated links. Choose as you see fit. A great line. Honestly, I'm super happy with the products. I think they look great overall. They improve the experience. They protect your Switch, give you a nice carry case. But probably one of the things I was the most shocked, of course the quality is good across the board, but the price point, it's so affordable. You're not gimping out on quality for the price that you have to pay, and there's a little bit of everything for everyone. So find the thing that works best for you, but you're pretty much guaranteed to have a couple of options in there that will work to improve your experience
or at least to protect your investment, which, as we know, the Switch 2 is not cheap. So happy Switch 2 launch to everyone. Thank you very much for clicking and watching the video. As always, if you enjoyed the content, please consider hitting the like and to subscribe to not miss any future one. I'm Clef, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.